Welcome to Polyglot Podcast. I'm Christian, your host from Finland, and today we have Polyglot Mouse. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to do this.
Yeah, I found you on Twitter because usually I go on social medias and I try to search for interesting people, and I first look what kind of content people post, and I saw that you're passionate about languages, and I thought it would be interesting to talk more about your language background. So,
Yeah, of course.
first of all, where are you from?
From the United States of America.
Yeah, where from
Yep.
there?
I'm on the East Coast,
Okay.
specifically New Jersey. New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in the US just once as a teen. It was a language course from do you know these European language course organizers STS and EF? They have like usually in Europe 1 to 3 week language courses, but this was an adventure version. So we went from Los Angeles to New York. So we actually uh, we also visited New Jersey. I think it was the Six Flags in New Jersey where
Wait, did you drive or did you go by plane?
we drove. Yeah, it was three
Oh, okay.
weeks.
So that
Yeah,
was nice. Yeah.
yeah.
Was it fun?
Oh yeah, I was 15, so I
Yeah.
definitely couldn't enjoy Vegas or Los Angeles or all the other places, but yeah, it was fun. I was there without parents. So yeah, I don't know much about New Jersey. We just visited the Six Flags amusement park. And how old are you now?
17.
17. All right. So you
Good
were
thing about
born.
a good thing about New Jersey, in my opinion, is it's similar to New York that we have tons of immigrants from different countries, so it's like a
Yeah.
great chance to learn different languages, in my opinion.
Oh, really? Do you have like
Yeah.
language cafes or some events?
There are, but I haven't gone to any specifically myself, but there definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it also with the name language Catalingua? Because I think Catalingua, especially in Europe, we have that in many countries.
Yeah, specifically New York. I don't live too far from New York, so I definitely have access to that.
Yeah. The distance between New York and New Jersey was like 50 kilometers, 100, something like that. Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like depending on where you are, it could be like a 10-minute drive or 3 hours. Like it really depends.
Oh, yeah. So you were born 2007,
7.
2007. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I guess English was your first language, or
Yeah, English is my first language, yeah.
yeah. And as you were young, was it only English that you heard around you, or did you hear your like parents speak also other languages, or like the neighbors, or what languages were surrounding you as you grew up?
Yeah, so when I was young, my mom specifically speaks Spanish natively, but she never taught me Spanish, even though I heard it all around.
Yeah,
And it wasn't until like freshman year of high school that I had a Spanish teacher that was really, really fun. And he actually is not Hispanic himself, like of Hispanic descent. He learned Spanish in his college natively. I not natively, like fluently.
yeah,
And he's the one that kind of got me into learning languages. He like, kind of inspired me to learn Spanish fluently. So
yeah,
now I do speak Spanish, and that's kind of like how I started with Spanish.
yeah. And was
Hmm.
Spanish your first foreign language?
That was my first foreign language, yeah.
Yeah, but so but you always I guess heard your mom talking to someone in Spanish as you were a kid as well.
Yeah, I heard it. So it was kind of
Yeah.
easy to pick up. Yeah.
Yeah. And is your family big from your mom's side? Like, were there like uncles and aunts or cousins who were visiting your home and speaking Spanish, or was it always just English?
Actually, it's mainly English because my family's Puerto Rican, so
Yeah.
they prefer to speak English. Every time I'd visit them, they'd just be chatting away in English.
Oh, okay. Um, so have you visited many times Puerto Rico?
I just visited in May for the first time. It was great. I
Yeah,
was able to like practice my Spanish there because I'm
yeah.
sure you've heard this because I see that you speak Spanish. I'm sure you heard that they have like their accents kind of hard to understand sometimes, but
Yeah,
it's
is
definitely one of
it in Puerto Rico where they say like R is like L a bit like
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Puerto Rico or I don't know.
Yeah, the L is still trilled at the beginning. I mean, the R is
Oh,
still trilled at the beginning,
in
but in
the
the mid it
beginning,
becomes
okay, Puerto Rico, okay. So,
yeah, exactly.
okay, I think I've just heard some reggaeton artists and like their in their songs. I think I've heard a bit about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I just went to Viejo San Juan, which they have the Morro there, and I went to do a lot of sightseeing. It was really nice.
yeah, okay. How long did you stay in Puerto Rico?
It was about 8 days, I think.
Yeah. And your level of Spanish is now good enough to have like spontaneous conversations?
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah. So when you visited, you didn't use any English, or was it both English and
It
Spanish?
was both. In the hotel, all the people there spoke English, but when I was out, I used Spanish.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so as you were a kid, uh, at school, did you have in your school options to pick any foreign languages, or how was it?
Yeah, in elementary school, it was just Spanish. Now in high school, it you could choose between Spanish, Italian, or Latin.
Yeah,
So I chose Spanish, but I'm gonna take Italian next year
yeah,
as well, like both of them.
yeah. When did you start Spanish in school?
Well, I mean, technically, I started in third grade, which is elementary school.
Yeah,
Um, and I've been doing it till this day. So it's been about like 10 years, I think.
yeah, yeah. And how was it when you started Spanish on third grade, but you also heard your mom talking Spanish? Did you ask help from your mom a lot, or did you like practice with your mom, or was it a bit awkward because you were, I guess, used to speaking English with her?
No, she was always open to help me. It wasn't until recently I started practicing with her. In elementary school, they don't really give you hard work. They just teach you some simple things. So, in high school though, it's definitely like more rigorous, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you?
Uh,
You do you speak Spanish fluently?
Yeah, I speak Spanish fluently. I've got all. I think I've got already like 6 or 7 episodes in Spanish, and I started Spanish when I was I think 17. So that was 16, 17 years ago. So in high school here in Finland, and my aunt got married with a Mexican. So my aunt from Finland was in Minnesota for a year, I guess, and she fell in love, and then she and Felipe from Mexico, they moved here to Finland. So in the beginning, I actually just talked Spanish with my aunt's husband. Um, I also yeah, we could have spoken English, but at that time I preferred practicing Spanish, and I thought it was like nicer for him. And well, yeah, since high school, I've improved a lot my Spanish, and I would say it's pretty pretty good now. Yeah,
That's great, yeah. So,
yeah.
what's your best language, obviously, besides Finnish and English?
Besides Finnish and English, I would say Estonian after.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Um, yeah, like my pronunciation is much better in Estonian because it's so much closer to Finnish. But I think my vocabulary is the best from the foreign languages in English because uh, you have to study in English when you're in the university. Like I studied it for a few years med school, so a lot of the books were in English, and after that I studied business, so also a lot of the materials and the terms were. they are also in Finnish, but usually when you talk about some abbreviations, you're like ROI or like return on interest or IPO or those. I have to think, oh, how do you say this even in Finnish? Um, so yeah, in Estonian, it's not that good, but yeah, I would say third best is Estonian, and then probably I would say Spanish and Swedish.
Makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah,
You guys have to learn Swedish in Finland, right?
yeah. We have to. So you can start either on. It has actually changed. In my childhood, it was either around third, fourth grade. So that was the long Swedish, pitkä ruotsi, or the mid long, keskipitkä, mid long Swedish on seventh grade. And I started on seventh, and that I mean that was mandatory. You had to if you didn't start on third or fourth grade, you had to start it on seventh. But there's also the short Swedish, lyhyt ruotsi, I guess. I guess that's for foreigners, immigrants who move here, and in high school, I think they have the possibility of choosing. I'm actually not sure about this, but basically, Finnish people have to study Swedish, like starting from third or fourth grade or seventh. Yeah, but
Yep.
most of the people don't actually. They cannot have a conversation even in Swedish. When I think about my friends, I think I have maybe just one or two Finnish Finnish natives who can speak Swedish fluently.
And it's crazy because you guys have to learn, even though like such a small population of Finland actually has Swedish as their native language, right?
Yeah, around 5%. Yeah,
Yeah.
it used to be. I think the maximum was a bit more than 10, 12, 13, and it was not more than 15. That was around 100 years ago, or I think in the late 1800s. So it never was very high.
That makes
But
sense.
yeah, but I don't know if you know, but yeah, Swedish used to be the only official language of Finland until
Yeah.
I think
L-
I mentioned it also in the Finnish walkthrough video.
Yeah.
So yeah, until 1860 something. Yeah,
Yeah, I've learned a little bit about the history of Finland.
yeah.
I did it for a video. I actually think it's really interesting. With everything. Yeah.
What do you think was the most interesting thing or things for you in Finnish history?
Why I like the phenomenon movement specific personally. That's like one of my favorite parts. And kind of like the Russification of Finland under Nicholas the second. Um I, I like how Finland was able to overcome that. Those are kind of my two favorite parts.
Yeah, yeah. So the phenomenon was it like you mean in the 1800s when people started promoting the use of Finnish language?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's been so long since I was in elementary school, so I mean the term phenomenon, I was like thinking, was it this one? But yeah,
It's probably different in Finnish, I'm assuming the term.
no, it's
Like wait.
Fennomani, I think. Fennomani.
Oh, it is okay. It's similar.
Yeah, yeah. And so with Spanish, how was it learning Spanish, and um, what kind of materials or methods did you use besides classes? And do you think the classes were useful? Because many people say that learning a language in the class is not that useful, but yeah,
In my opinion, the classes weren't that much of a help to me. I think the only thing that the classes did was kind of motivate me to
yeah,
learn. But like, the curriculum is not really that good when it comes to teaching languages. But like I kind of like already had like the intuition for the language because I always
Mm,
heard it.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
never
yeah.
really used a textbook. I just remember opening YouTube and just looking at videos one day and I could just understand it a little bit.
Yeah,
And I just started it from there. Yeah.
yeah. So how were the classes? Why weren't they that useful?
Well, we have access to computers and mostly everybody would just use Google Translate is
Yeah,
really how language classes work in I'm assuming most schools. It's a little unfortunate
yeah,
because I feel like schools is kind of what demotivates people to learn a foreign language. It's kind of it's sad.
yeah. Well, I think here when I studied languages, for example, Swedish. Well, on upper elementary school, like the classes from seventh to ninth, which is Ylasta here in Finland. Yeah, there were many people who were being loud and like teasing the teacher, but anyways, I think it was pretty okay. I wasn't a language nerd back then, or languages were not the focus, but I think after 3 years I could already like co communicate somehow.
So
And
it's pretty good.
we had like dialogues and we read the text together with the pair, and that's usually what you we are used to do, like have a lot of dialogues and go through the vocabulary and well, at least for me, I think here in Finland, the classes that I attended at school were useful, and I felt like I learned a lot.
Yeah, honestly the worksheets and stuff that they gave us, they taught us like very like basic elementary vocabulary even in high school. And I remember like the first time I saw the subjunctive tense, I didn't understand what that was.
Yeah,
Like it and they didn't do a good job explaining. But it now that I look back and it's not that hard. You just gotta kind of like know when to use it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you
But they
think?
don't
Yeah,
no, you continue.
yeah. What do you think? When was the first time you used Spanish outside of school?
Probably talking with some of my mom's friends.
Yeah,
That was the first time I started using it. In the beginning, it wasn't that great, but I tried my best, even if I made a lot of mistakes. I think I did make
yeah,
a lot of mistakes, but
yeah.
yeah.
So you were not afraid of making mistakes.
No, never, never. I think it's great to make mistakes.
Yeah, well, that's good because I think many language learners have they are too like perfectionists that they want to speak perfectly before even starting to speak, and yeah, that's not the correct way.
So, my next language I learned after Spanish was Portuguese, which
Yeah,
I have a decent I have a decent level of now. I could basically understand most of what people say, and I'm able to communicate because
yeah,
they're so similar. It's so similar to Spanish, right?
yeah. I read it's like the lexical similarity is well, I found different values for that, but the percentages were 89, 90, somewhere
Yeah.
there, 88 to 90 percent.
But in my opinion, lexical similarity, it doesn't like define much because like
Yeah,
look at the lexical similarity between Italian and French. They're also like 87. Yet
yeah,
they share a lot of cognates, but a lot of Italian speaker really can't understand a French speaker. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, that's true. Do you
Yeah.
know? I actually haven't found out, or I actually haven't read about what how 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 they calculate the lexical similarity. Do you know more about this?
I think it's just they take cognates, like basically
Yeah,
words that come from the same root. So like mo mostly Latin, Germanic, all those root words, and they see like if they come from the same root. It doesn't matter if they're completely different. Like they could like a Spanish speaker and a Portuguese speaker could have the same word for something, and they might not understand it at all in each other languages. But if they
yeah.
come from the same like root, they'll count as a cognate, lexical
Oh, okay,
similarity.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, then yeah, I understand it. Yeah, it isn't that important.
Yeah.
But anyways, I feel like yeah, Spanish and Portuguese are quite similar. I speak both of them. I speak Brazilian Portuguese. I think Brazilian Portuguese is probably a bit easier. Which one
Yeah,
do
it
you
is.
speak?
So that's interesting. I learned Brazilian Portuguese first, and but in currently I'm trying to like change my accent because
Yeah,
to European Portuguese because I kind of like the way it sounds a little bit better.
yeah,
But yeah, definitely. I think Portuguese and Spanish are super similar because they both have like the Arabic influence on the peninsula and all that. They have like a lot of loanwords from each other.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think I saw a video on your channel about um, European Portuguese and Russian, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I actually thought exactly the same when I can't remember, but in my teen years, and when I heard European Portuguese and Russian, I think they sounded the same.
yeah,
But now, as I speak both of the languages, Russian and Portuguese, it's not the same now. They sound totally different. But I can remember when I didn't speak Portuguese or Russian. They
yeah,
I was confused. I was thinking, is this Portuguese? Is this Russian or what?
yeah. I know. I think it's just like the phonemes and accent in general. But yeah,
Yeah,
they do sound really. Now that I speak Portuguese, I don't think they sound similar at all. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
in the beginning I did too.
So how have you been studying Portuguese?
Okay, so Portuguese, I also like kind of started with watching teacher videos like on YouTube. I just started using a textbook now, like a higher level textbook. It's called Aprender Português, and basically I've been just like I've been practicing writing stuff in my notebook because I know writing helps with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I've been reading some articles online, and I've been listening. So basically, just like working on every like of the four different things.
Mm, yeah. So just self-studying.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. Are there even possibilities to study Portuguese in your school or in some other schools there in your area?
Yeah, like I said, New Jersey's like very diverse. So there's a town that just has Brazilians.
Yeah.
And then I live in a town that has a lot of people from Portugal.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I have tons of opportunities. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And
Actually Portuguese Brazilian Portuguese when I learned that, that was the first like foreign language aside from Spanish that I was able to go out. I went to a restaurant and I had a conversation with the waitress
yeah.
completely in Portuguese. It was
Wow.
like one of the best feelings I ever had. It
Yeah.
was great.
And did you do it in Brazilian Portuguese or
It was yeah,
European?
that was at the time I was learning Brazilian Portuguese.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
And what do you think now when you're trying to change your accent? That's actually something I have never done in any language. So I'm curious to know how do you feel about it? How is what's difficult in this process?
I think it's difficult because European Portuguese and Brazilian Portuguese, some of their words for the same things are different. So I just
Yeah,
kind of have to relearn some of those words, but for the most part, it's not that bad. Um, I think in general, European Portuguese is a little bit harder to understand than Brazilian Portuguese. So I'm just trying to get used to that accent as well. But it
yeah,
hasn't been that bad.
yeah. I agree. I agree. I've had a few guests from Portugal in my Portuguese episodes, and um, I'm now used to hearing European Portuguese, but I have to admit it's not always easy. It's a bit I have to struggle a bit more compared to Brazilian Portuguese, which is I think it's a bit more open and it's probably not that fast, but also in Brazil there are so many dialects that uh, uh, I think there are also some dialects that could be a bit harder to understand, but the ones that I've encountered have been pretty easy.
Which dialect did you study? Because I studied northeastern Brazilian Portuguese when I did it.
Yeah,
Uh,
so my teacher, she's a Finn, but she had lived in Sao Paulo, so the dialect spoken there, which is pretty neutral.
yeah.
So they don't have the sh. So yeah, compared to people from Rio de Janeiro, who
Hmm.
have the sh usually. In Sao Paulo, it's just a regular S always.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now that I'm learning European Portuguese, I have to learn how to do that sh at the end as well.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard much about the African, like from Mozambique, Angola, Sao Tome and Principe, Cape Verde?
Yeah, I think I've heard Angolan and Mozambique Portuguese a little bit. Um, but besides that, I think it's kind of similar to European Portuguese in my
Yeah,
opinion, right? Yeah.
yeah. I agree. It sounds a bit more like European Portuguese, but I think it's a bit easier to understand.
Yeah, it is. It is.
At least the clips that I've listened and well, I actually have one friend here in Finland. He's from Angola. Um, he's from Angola and he's a huge celebrity here in Finland. So I was thinking of like asking him to speak Portuguese in the podcast because I haven't had anyone from like outside Brazil and Portugal, so it would be interesting to get more.
Yeah, that actually would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've yet to meet somebody from that part of the world that speaks that Portuguese.
Sorry?
I have yet to like meet
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
from Africa that speaks Portuguese like that. Yeah.
So you haven't still met anyone?
No, not from Africa, that
Yeah.
speaks that version of Portuguese. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, of course, East Timor or well, I guess in Macau it's pretty hard nowadays to
Yeah.
find anyone, but I think in East Timor it's still possible.
I think so. Yeah. Macau definitely it's kind of dying out, unfortunately.
Yeah. And what resources have you used? Can you like mention some good recommendations about the channels or books
Yeah,
that you've used?
for like I said, I use for Portuguese I use Aprender
Oh
Português,
yeah, you mentioned
which
that
is
one. Yeah.
the that one's specifically European Portuguese.
Yeah.
I guess Portuguese with Leo. Actually I could pull up my Portuguese resource list, I think.
Sure.
Um, should have it here. Yep. What do I have here? Oh yeah, definitely I have some I use Anki definitely.
Yeah.
Um, Link and sometimes I read in Wikipedia. Actually, I think Wikipedia is a really good resource for reading.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
What do you read in Wikipedia? I've done it also. Like I read about different like I like geography, so usually I might read about different cities or countries in random languages or maybe some technology stuff or what do you usually read?
yeah, mainly I read about Portugal or Brazil and also their cities as well. Because I feel like when it's about Portugal or Brazil,
Yeah.
I feel like that way the article is like more it definitely has a higher quality because like they'll put more effort into putting into writing something like that, in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
opinion. And then I also listen to a podcast right now called Extremamente Desagradável.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of like a humor podcast, but it's still going on. It's one of the few podcasts that like they haven't stopped midway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So you've found many but they have then like stopped making new
Yeah,
episodes. And that one is in European Portuguese or
that one's
Brazilian.
European. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I think I used Victoria Langhammer when I learned Brazilian Portuguese, and also
Mhm.
Easy Portuguese as well. I really like their videos.
Yeah, easy languages. I use them also for quite many languages. They have
Yeah, same here.
really good videos. I actually tried a few times with my wife going here in Finland, going outside and interviewing people, but it's surprisingly difficult. We did it once in the city center of Helsinki, but we mainly managed to get some tourists, not no Finnish people. Um, well, that was okay. And the second time in Rovaniemi, it was at the Santa Claus village, and yeah, it's surprisingly difficult to get people to stop and give actually some answers. I don't know if you have ever tried it.
No, I've never tried it, but I feel like people in Finland were probably more conserved. That's why.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we just have to be more aggressive, but yeah, I felt like many people were like, "Oh no, I don't want to be on a video or something like that." So I definitely appreciate much more now all the like easy languages videos or any of those street interviews because
Oh yeah, definitely.
I've seen how hard it is.
In America, I feel like it's easy to get people on video. For some reason, everybody wants to be on video nowadays
Oh,
in
okay.
America.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a little weird if you see videos on TikTok or YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
But
a lot from the US because TikTok and Instagram they also recommend like us a lot of the content from the US and actually one type of video that I've seen a lot. Do you know those videos where they have a huge map and then they ask people what country is this and can you show where we are now?
yeah.
So so last time we actually took a huge map but almost no one wanted to stop because they were like, I'm not good in geography. And but in the videos I saw from the US, I think they have stopped a lot of people and then just chosen the stupidest people in the final video because
Yeah, that's what I'm
they
saying.
they
I always
they
yeah.
always have the stupid ones who know nothing, who cannot even point where the US is or
Yeah, I know. I always like I don't expect somebody to know where like Chad is on a map, but like they always choose somebody that doesn't even know where the US is. Like it's crazy.
yeah. And
They edit it on
then
purpose, I think.
yeah, yeah, I think so. And then everyone around the world thinks, okay, every American is like that. But of course, it's not like that. And last time when we tried that, only one person stopped during the 1 hour we were out, and it was an Indian tourist, and he knew all the all the places I showed him. He was like even many of the African countries because usually when you go outside Europe or like North America, people don't know anything. They're like, yeah, Africa is a country or something like that. But yeah, he
Yeah.
was he was too good for my video. But yeah, let's see. If I get more interviews, I might actually um, publish that one as well. I haven't done it because I wanted to have more interviews, but we had also our baby with us, so we had to leave a bit after that because we started speaking with him, and it was yeah interesting speaking with him. But yeah, maybe next time if we continue because I was a bit thinking to make an intro video for like easy Finnish or like for the easy languages team to show that hey here's my video. What do you think? Maybe we can cooperate and become the easy Finnish video makers. But yeah, now
No,
after
that'd be
seeing
incredible because I've been I was wondering why there isn't easy finish. Maybe it's because a lot of people don't like being stopped in the street.
well here you probably know that here the culture is a bit more reserved and
Yeah.
we also want to give other people like their own personal space. So it actually, yeah, I also feel the burn inside my myself that I'm like I don't want to disturb people. They are going somewhere, walking on the street, and then I'm bothering them, and that's yeah that's the culture here. So, but I've seen a lot of people on TikTok or somewhere like, interviewing people, but they are quite aggressive. I've seen on TikTok or somewhere they just record immediately and they just go and ask and they but what I've done is that I want to first ask if it's okay to be filmed because
Yeah.
I
I
think
think that's
it's
better.
not that polite just to film and ask something and I mean of course you get much more content but I don't know I feel a bit rude and but yeah I guess the successful people, the successful street interviews just have to do that. But I just feel like I really want to ask if it's okay, and after that, like press the play button.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that there's no easy American English, but there's easy British English. I like
Oh, okay.
out of 300 million people in the US, I'm surprised like nobody wants to do like easy English for America. You know what I
What
mean?
what do you think? Why is it?
No, because there's definitely a lot of language learners in America.
Yeah,
I just maybe nobody wants to go through the hassle of doing all the editing. I know it takes a long time to do all the videos.
yeah. But well, I would guess there would be someone to take the chance because I mean the Easy Languages brand is quite strong, and you have a good chance of making also some money if you just make the video. So
Yeah, I know Easy
um,
German, they probably do it full time now.
yeah, yeah, definitely the Easy German. I think they have not all the easy languages do it full time, but I think they have almost 10 or at least more than easy German that do
Yeah.
it full time. What I've understood from their texts, and when I went on their like website and read about the process, how to apply, and but yeah, now for myself, it's a bit hard. I have a 9-month-old kid. I'm studying computer science, which is like my third degree. I have all my language projects, like all the like books I've published, and I'm currently working with the Hazara person living in Australia. We're making the vocabulary book for Hazaragi, which is similar to Persian. And like also started like building my own language app, but as I'm a really beginner in software engineering, I don't know, I will need a lot of time. So I have all these different projects. So yeah, it's a bit hard because I was really enthusiastic and thinking that yeah, we will film every week some videos and make the easy Finnish videos. But now when I saw how hard it is, so I really wanted to. So last time we our plan was to gather answers for many different questions. So one was the map, but we also had some licorice, the salmiakki from Finland. And we also wanted to like give those to people to taste and ask their opinions, and also like tourists and also Finns, and Finns talking about salmiakki, about sauna, about like all the stereotypes about Finland, and making like the first, let's say, 4 or 5 videos about the stereotypical things about Finland, which would probably be sauna, salmiakki. What else? What do you think? What do you think? What are the stereotypes about Finland for you, for example?
I've only heard sauna, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna be honest.
yeah.
Fin
I think I had something more in mind, but it doesn't come into my mind now. But we wanted to ask many questions, but it was so hard to get anyone to stop there to talk to us. So yeah, and now as the weather is also getting much colder soon, it will be also much harder to film outside if it's raining or uh, yeah, when it gets below zero. Well, minus like between 0 and -10, it's not that bad, but if it's like -20 or below, then your batteries also die and your hands are freezing, and then it's hard.
yeah. I only know zero is I think 30 degrees Fahrenheit. But aside from that, I'm not sure how to I've learned how to convert. I kind of forgot this point. I think it's like divide by 2 plus 40 or something like that.
Is something like that. Like -25 is the same in Fahrenheit and Celsius.
Yeah.
It goes yeah, I think somewhere there. But I think 30 Celsius is like 90, between 90 and 100 in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I've had to learn because I've been talking to a few Europeans lately, so I've
Yeah,
been kind of learning. Yeah.
yeah, okay. What do you think? Are there a lot of materials for Finnish learners, or is it hard to find?
Yeah, I made a video about what resources I'm using to learn Finnish. There's actually quite a bit if you look.
Yeah, yeah. I actually scrolled that video through, and I saw the resources you mentioned, but yeah, I guess that's still not that much.
Yeah. It's really good to start though. I think you get to a good intermediate level with those.
Yeah. Yeah. So my wife is not a Finnish. She's from Odessa, Ukraine, and she also had the Suomen Mestari book. And what else? Well, at least from the resources that you had, she had the Suomen Mestari. I'm not sure about what else she used, but yeah, there sh definitely should be much more like easy Finnish or something. And well, if I'm not going to do it, I really hope myself that someone else would do it, or I would actually be happy to also be part of the team.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Um,
Yeah.
like as a like I'm quite good with cameras. I've done a lot of photography and videography with different kinds of cameras, with drones and DSLRs and GoPros. And if uh, I would find some really aggressive person who stops everyone and like who would be much more efficient than me, I would, yeah, definitely be interested of like recording those videos, because I think there definitely should be easy Finnish videos, because I really like those street interviews, and I tried to find a bit from Finland, but there are a few, but they are mostly for Finns, targeted for Finns. So the titles are in Finnish, and probably people who try to learn Finnish would not know how to search for those videos.
I think maybe doing easy American English could be a fun project to do as well. Maybe I might think about applying. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Just let me know how your first time went. It would be nice to hear if it's easier there,
Yeah.
because our first two times were not easy. But we also I don't want to give up yet, so I might continue. But do you have friends who would be able to help you or interested about this project?
Probably not, I'm gonna be honest. Maybe
Yeah,
one person. I'm thinking about one person.
yeah,
I mean, a lot of people are kind of motivated by money. I just be doing it for the passion, like to help people learn English.
yeah.
Um, Maybe when I'm older though, because like I'm gonna study something foreign language related. So maybe if I find somebody older that could do it with me, that'd be really good.
So do you have a lot of friends who are interested about languages, or is it common in your friend circle?
No, everybody I know hates learning languages except
Really?
one person. Yes,
Yeah.
except one person I know. He loves languages and linguistics, so it's really good.
Yeah. Okay, it's good that you have at least one.
Yeah.
I think in my case it was a bit similar. When I was young, not that many people were interested, but here in Finland it's a bit different because everyone has to learn besides Finnish. Or if they speak natively Swedish or a Sami language, then well, it's a different question. But if you speak Finnish, then you have to learn Swedish and English. So that's at least three languages that you have some knowledge about. But almost everyone, almost every friend I know, like everyone I know has had at least one or two courses in a fourth or fifth language, because in high school we have to gather 84 courses in total. And some of my friends, they were like, okay, I'm just taking one course of French or one course of Spanish, it's going to be easy. easy point for me. I'm just going to do that and that's it. Then I have all the like courses completed that I need to. So here, people, so almost everyone has learned or studied in some point at least one course of like 4 or 5 languages. So and even people who are not like language nerds or interested in languages. So it's probably a bit different. And also, I didn't speak that much about languages when I was in my teens. I was just focused on getting to med school first, and I had like different plans. And it was when I dropped out of med school when I decided that no, I want to actually want to create a business, and I want to uh, combine somehow my passion for languages and like my business like my passion to create ideas and to create something new like businesses. It was then when I was 23 when I decided I want to uh, concentrate on languages, and I think before that languages were more on the background.
Yeah.
And I also cannot think that many people who were super interested about languages at that time. Of course, now I have much more. Um, but do you think, in general, in the US, people are not that interested in languages?
Yeah, I think it's because a lot of people speak English as their native language, so they see that there's no point in learning other languages. And in school, you have to take like you said 84 courses. We only have to take
Yeah,
like two courses for 2 years. So not
yeah,
even the full high school. And even in university it's the same. So they don't really like try to get you interested in languages.
yeah, yeah,
And I come from a very multilingual school as well. Like there's people that speak English and Spanish, Czech, Russian,
yeah.
Polish. Yet they also still don't like learning languages, even though they've had that second language.
Okay. So they just speak more than one language because of their maybe family background.
Yeah, because of their family. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And actually, here in Finland lately, I've seen a lot of articles that language learning is in decline here compared to what it was in probably 20 years ago. Um, I can't remember the numbers, but it has decreased a lot. Uh, German used to be the most popular language here 20 years ago. Now it's definitely Spanish.
Yeah.
Uh, because we had a huge boom here in Finland around 2007, 2008. We had one Spanish TV show, Los Serrano, from Spain. Actually, Spaniards have never heard of they have no idea about this show because the Finnish broadcaster, the owned by the state, Yle, they just like buy the rights to show different shows from around the world, usually from the Nordic countries and sometimes from Spain, Italy, Germany. And they probably just bought a random show, like the rights for a random Spanish show, because Spanish people don't know this, but many people here, when they watch Los Serrano, actually myself including, really liked the show, and because of that started learning Spanish. And I think that created a huge spike, and since then Spanish has climbed to number one after Swedish and English, of course, but Swedish and English are mandatory. So it's I would say Spanish is has become the most popular optional language here.
Yeah, I think in the US it goes Swedish, I no, no Spanish, sorry, Spanish, French, and then maybe German. Like you said, German also used to be the highest, but that was like back in like the 1930s maybe.
Oh, okay.
Ever since World War II, n not a lot of schools teach German. Although in my school, there's opportunity, like you could take a fluency test in more than like I think 80 languages, but you can't like
18.
80.
80 languages.
Yeah,
You
like
can do
somewhere
the
around there.
fluency test in your school.
In my school, yeah, I was surprised when I found that out too. So, um, but you can't take the course in that language.
Yeah.
You could take the test though. But taking the test by itself is a good thing, I feel like.
Oh wow, that's a lot of languages. So they have
Yeah.
all the standardized tests like the topic for Korean, the whatever it's for Japanese, I forgot. So they have like those for 80 different languages.
No, so it's not the so if you want to do something like the Japanese JLPT, I think it is, you have to go to another
Yeah.
institution. But in my school, they have like kind of like it's a fluency test, but it's not like the one that's given by the state.
Okay, okay. So it's
But it still allows you to use that that test certificate to show like if you're applying for a job that you
yeah.
have working fluency in another language.
Oh, okay, okay.
And they're actually and I think it's like from they come from other countries too, like they mail them in. So it is made by another country. I just don't know where it's from.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking
Uh,
of Spanish, I have this Spanish book. I forgot to tell you. I don't know if you can see it.
yeah, I
It's
think it
called
blurs the text here on Zoom.
Taínos y Caribes. I actually bought it when I was in Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow, about the
Uh,
Taino indigenous people from the Caribbean.
yeah, it's like a kind of like an academic book, and they only sell over there. I'm sure you could
Yeah,
get it shipped over here, but I
yeah,
was like, I might as well buy it over there. It's like a nice souvenir to have, and I've been
yeah,
practicing like my reading at a high level, so it's been pretty good.
yeah. So it's in Spanish about the Tainos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting.
I think I actually met in Dominica uh, a few Taino, like the indigenous people, and they were we actually drove to the wrong direction and then we asked help and they actually stopped and we started having a chat for half an hour and it was just half a year after the hurricane of 2017. That was in 2018. So he told that well in Dominica I think there are around thousands of indigenous people and he also taught some of the words. They actually speak English currently as a native language, but they have tried to somehow revive the original language. I think Tainos were like the whole Caribbean, like on it's like the group of people there. And in Puerto Rico, are there any left that are Tainos, or probably there's some heritage like DNA, but I guess people who identify themselves as like the indigenous people, like the Tainos, probably not. Or
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't meet anybody with that was like specifically 100% Taino. I have Taino DNA myself, but like obviously
yeah,
I don't identify as Taino because I was raised here.
yeah,
But like everybody knows the history. Everybody I unfortunately the language wasn't preserved. That would have been really cool. But they have a lot of exhibits and stuff,
yeah,
and everybody knows. Yeah,
yeah. That's really cool. So Tainos and Arawaks were the second group, but that was more, was it in like around Venezuela, the like mainland, or
yeah, yeah.
was were Arawaks also in the islands, or was it? Can you remember about that?
I think our walks, well, at least from what I know, the term for all of the indigenous peoples were Arawakan. So
Oh,
maybe Arawak,
including you mean including Tainos were like
yeah, including Taino.
Arawaks? Okay,
Yeah, so I think Arawakans could have been like the first group, and then they split into these smaller subdivisions.
yeah,
So I think that's how it works. And the Tainos are related to, I think they're related to like the people that speak Guarani in Paraguay,
yeah,
and I think they're distantly related to those people as well.
yeah. I think when I read about this, I think part of them went to the islands and part like towards the south,
Yeah.
in the Amazon. Yeah, I cannot remember
So
that much anymore because I had a project 2015 to 2018. I read about the history of every country. So I had a Finnish book which went through the history of every country through their flags. I hand wrote some notes, and then for a year I no after that that took just that phase took like one year, and after that I needed maybe 2 or 3 years to go through my notes, and I proofread from Wikipedia about the history of every country, and I like compared my notes with the Wikipedia notes, and I remember when the history of each Caribbean country when I read about them, there was a lot about the Taínos and Arawaks, and yeah.
that makes sense. Was it fun, like learning about it?
You mean about the history of like every
Yeah.
country?
Like,
Yeah,
how do you like it?
yeah. You know, you started seeing patterns when you went through some countries. Uh, like I think I went through in groups, like all the Spanish ex-colonies, all the Portuguese ex-colonies. So I started seeing like patterns, what happened, and the differences. Okay, but yeah, it was quite interesting. But of course, there was so much information that I don't remember everything now afterwards, and my notes were like I made a blog post about each country, but that was so long time ago. When I go back to my notes, those blog posts, I'm like, I cannot read it. But it's not well written, but it's the information is pretty okay. I
And
guess you're also interested about like history and all.
yeah, of course. Yeah. I kind of like learning about history, like just for fun, but like when I learn a language, I also try to learn about the history of that country and that language in that language as well.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's good. So did you already well you have this Finnish challenge. I guess it's too is it too early to read about the history of Finland in Finnish, or do you do this when you reach a higher level in a language, like for
Yeah,
example
I
with
tried
Spanish or Portuguese?
I try to do it like maybe A2, B1 level. Right now
Yeah,
I don't even consider myself A1 in Finnish. I'm like I've only been learning for a week, but
yeah,
it's been
yeah,
great so far. It's been really fun.
yeah. It well, the fun will end in some point. If, well, at least if you ask my wife, she's like, well, she has a really high level of Finnish, but like you know the details, some details like with the cases, and she's like, it's. But it's good if you have had fun during your first week. So
Yeah.
you're just doing one month and just seeing how far you can get in 1 month.
Yeah, I'm doing 1 month, and I'm gonna make a video of my progress. But I've been having so much fun. I'm honestly gonna keep continuing Finnish after the month as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So I was saying before like how high schools kind of like don't push foreign languages a lot,
Yeah.
but like depending on the university you go to, some like universities in the United States, some of like the higher universities, they are kind of like renowned for their foreign language programs. So like I'm looking at a university right now because it kind of interested me, and they have like 30 different African languages. They
Wow,
have
30. Okay.
yeah, they have like 15 different classical languages. I didn't realize that they have all these languages. They have
Yeah.
like in total it's like got to be like close to 100 that you could study
Wow, in one university.
in one university. Yeah.
And which one is that?
This is Harvard, but other you've probably heard of Harvard, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but even smaller universities, like even like state universities, they have like a lot of options as well.
Yeah.
I even see like Native American languages. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So
Do you have
at
any
least it's good.
idea what would you want to learn and study in the university?
Yeah, so I'm thinking like a foreign language, like foreign language studies. Like maybe East Asian, Near East studies. And I'm probably gonna do a focus in pre-med.
Hmm.
So I think it could be really fun doing like doing a bachelor's in a foreign language and then also doing the pre-med path. Because
Yeah.
you have experience with pre-med, right? Like you said?
Here in Finland, it's I guess a bit different. So, isn't your system so that you can do the pre-med and but was it bachelor's in
Yeah.
languages, and then you decide what to do the next level or somehow?
Yeah, you could decide to go to
Uh,
graduate or medical school.
yeah, no, here it's after high school you just go straight to med school and that's it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Here,
you
here,
don't have
it's like really.
any. Yeah,
No, no,
yeah,
you go.
yeah, yeah. So here it's not like that. You just have to choose what you want to study: medicine, psychology, economics. You okay, you can have some minors and maybe some um well, for example, I think if you can have basically minors in some languages, but if you're studying medicine or psychology, then it's pretty strict here. You cannot. Then you specialize in. You will be a bachelor in medicine, and then master. When you get your master's, you're like you have completed your education and you're ready to work. So it's a bit different. We don't have those like undergraduate and the yeah, that's kind of system.
Yeah, there's multiple like ways you can go for it. So like mo most universities have a core curriculum where they give you like math, science, English. But then there's also open curriculum universities, which means you're not confined to any curriculum and you could choose whatever you want as long as you get the credits to graduate.
Yeah.
So when you do pre-med, it's not a major. You could choose whatever major you want. Most people tend to go like biology, neuroscience because it kind of overlaps with the classes you need to take for pre-med. But
Yeah.
once you complete your 4 years, you need to take an exam, and that exam is really difficult. A lot of people don't even make it into med school after doing all 4 years, and
Mm,
it's kind of like devastating. And then you do 4 more years of med school, and then you do like I think like 2 to 5 years of a residency, and then you're a doctor.
okay, yeah. Here it's yeah, 6 years and then you're a doctor. So first it's the preclinical time is 2.5 years, which means mainly theory. And the last 3.5 years are like clinical studies. So you have classes, but you have much more uh, practical work. You work in the hospital and have every now and then also some big lessons,
Yeah.
lectures. But here we have the entrance exam after high school, so it's really hard to get inside med school. So that's why many people who heard that I dropped out from there, are like, are you crazy or stupid or what's wrong with you? Because uh, it's probably one of the most sought after places to get in because it's so hard and there's 100% of security that you will get a job and a really good like a high paid uh, job. So basically, anyone who gets in, usually no one drops out. There are a few people. I know at least one or two other people, but usually when you get in, you don't drop out from there.
No, that's great that you ended up seeing that you had a passion to something else. Like that's really admirable.
Yeah, it's definitely not an easy path, but I would have regretted if I didn't do this. So yeah, it's really good. I've actually seen some nightmares during the last 12 years since I dropped out that I was in med school again, and I'm like, oh, what happened to my dreams? Why am I here?
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen, or maybe you haven't, you've seen the application process for universities in the United States. How
I've heard. I don't know the details. Can you tell me more?
yeah, so like you said you just had an entrance exam and then if you pass you're in, right?
Yeah. So
He,
yeah.
Here we have an exam and you get if you get a high score, you're pretty good, but that doesn't guarantee that you're in. You have to do a lot of volunteer things. You have to do join a lot of clubs. they have this thing called holistic review where they don't care about your scores if you didn't like do something productive during your
Mm,
4 years. So it's like they want you to do multiple things that like even if you were the president of like let's say a language club,
yeah.
you still have a better chance of getting into med school compared to somebody that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's kind of weird that they put like emphasis on doing all these things, but they say it builds leadership and teamwork.
Yeah. I've heard about the clubs you have, all the for different activities.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, it's a bit weird that you put so much emphasis on that here. Well, basically there are two ways here. Either you have to have like after high school we have like these final exams. I guess they are a bit like maybe SATs. I'm not sure, but it's the standardized tests here in Finland. So each per student in every high school around Finland does it, and then they get some grades, and based on that, those grades you can get with if you have good enough grades. You there are places where you don't even have to go to the entrance exam if you have uh, enough points. For example, now I didn't go to the entrance exam to study computer science because I had enough points from my high school degree. But in med school, they don't have that option. Everyone has to do the entrance exam. But in most, also law school has the same. But almost, and psychology. But I would say the majority of all the things you can study, you can get directly in if you have very good grades from the final exams. Oh yeah, I think it's called matriculation examination or examination matriculation, something like that in English.
Yeah, honestly, it's the same. Like what you said. If you get a high grade on the SAT score, aside from med school and law school, you can get into most degrees without taking an entrance exam.
Okay. And here, yeah, I think here they for psychology, for example, they have some interviews as well. So they have the written test, written exam, but they also have the interviews, and I think there were like many phases you have to get from past maybe 3 phases. I'm not sure.
So yeah, so my last language that I learned before Finnish was Norwegian.
Yeah,
That I haven't learned it a lot because I'm focusing on Norwegian now, but it's definitely been fun. I think I'm A1. I'm very
yeah,
beginner.
yeah,
I do have textbooks here actually, because
yeah,
I saw your interview with Werner Scala, so I have his books here,
yeah. Oh, you
and I
have
have
Werner's books.
yeah I have his book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love them. They're
Yeah,
great.
yeah, great. So you have been following Werner for a bit longer time then?
Yeah, I have. Maybe about a year now.
Yeah, okay. So I guess you've studied Norwegian a bit then for a year at least, or
Yeah, it's been on and off really
yeah.
because I've been focusing with other things in school.
I would guess Norwegian probably is the easiest language for you because I mean English and Norwegian are the closest compared to English or Spanish, Portuguese, Finnish.
Yeah, I think a lot of like sentences in Norwegian kind of just sound like copy and paste from English.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and obviously they're not like, like English had influence from old Danish, I think it was, and then Norwegian was also influenced by Danish.
yeah,
So yeah, I think it is really that's why they have a lot of similarities in my opinion. Also, they're both Germanic languages, right?
yeah,
The grammar is really easy. The grammar by far is easiest. The hardest thing for me is the three genders, but the grammar is really easy. Even though feminine uses masculine endings, right?
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so far it's been really easy. It's been fun.
Doesn't Norwegian have two? I haven't studied Norwegian. Just Swedish, but I think well in Swedish they have two. I think some like two genders merge into one. Like you mean the en and et, the
Yes.
articles.
It's
Uh,
it'd be an and a,
yeah.
and they could be the same. So feminine could be masculine, and then
Mhm.
there's also neuter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, funnily, I've not studied Norwegian, but of course, if you speak Swedish, then you can have a conversation with Norwegians, which, like you saw, we did with Werner, and that's something I also want to do much more. I think this month later, I'm going to have a similar conversation with a Danish polyglot. But with Danish, it's much more difficult. It's much
Yeah,
more
yeah. They have
harder.
the way they pronounce things are a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, yeah. Have you seen the Norwegian parody about the Danish language?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah. Somebody sent me that video. Yeah.
the Kamolozo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Danes don't like that much,
Yeah.
but it's funny. It's fun.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, I think Swedes and Norwegians say that Danish people speak with the hot potato in their mouth or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's what I always hear. Yeah.
Yeah, and but there are also, I think, a lot of jokes about Finns because then no one understands us,
I know.
but they,
It must be crazy like you're a Nordic country yet you speak a completely different language, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. From my perspective, because I've lived my whole life here, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty natural for me because when you think about the history, yeah, we were part of Sweden, and that's why we are culturally quite close to the like Germanic countries, the Scandinavian countries. So, but yeah, it's like being the yeah half brother of Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Iceland. Well, I think Iceland is also a bit like an outsider.
Yeah. Icelandic, it's so much preserved, you know? It's like they could understand Old Norse. I think that's crazy that they preserved this long.
Have you watched Jackson Crawford videos as well?
No, I don't
About
think I've heard of that, who that is.
oh, okay, I think he has like 100,000 or more followers, subscribers on YouTube. He's a professor. I think he has a PhD in Old Norse. So he has made a lot of videos about like all the Germanic languages, even the Elfdalian language. So he has at least videos about the Icelandic, Faroese, Swedish, Norwegian. But I also found out that he had a few video, at least one video about Elfdalian, if you know this language.
No, I don't think I've heard of it. Actually, I just searched him up and I've seen his videos about Old English.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I have seen his videos before. It was a
Yeah.
while ago though.
Yeah. But you're also interested about like Old Norse and maybe the mythology or only the language.
Both actually. I read a book about their mythology once, but it was in English.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know about the Christianization and all that stuff. Like I love learning about the history of like almost everything.
Yeah, 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 the same here. And I think, I mean, the Norse mythology, I think, is also important because that's where English and many other languages get their like weekdays, the names of the weekdays.
Yeah.
And also
Like
Finnish because Finnish has borrowed them from Swedish.
so anything else you want to say?
Yeah, sure. What else did I have? So actually, I'm about Faroese. I'm going to probably Faroe Islands next year to do my exchange studies there.
That's actually really cool. So one interesting fact I know about Faroe Islands, really random.
Yeah.
They have like the lowest amount of car accidents. Some like random thing that I learned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
like per capita or like in like the total amount of car
I think it's
accidents?
per year. Like I think it's per year, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's
I think it's probably because their population's so small anyway.
yeah. Yeah, I just found out that it's the least sunny place on Earth, no, or at least sunny city to the Torshavn. I guess there are much more cloudier like regions in ha uninhabited places, but yeah. So what do you think? What languages would you want to learn in the future? And
Um,
you said you might study East Asian studies or something in the university. So do you have some languages in mind what to study in the university, or it could be also in your spare time, self-studying? What do you think?
in the university, I'd probably study East Asian studies. That seems like probably the most practical degree you could get, at least out of the ones we have here.
Yeah,
Um, there's a lot of institutes here where you can learn tons of languages, especially there's a university named Middlebury, and they are the top university for foreign languages in the world. So that'd be really cool to get into. They have like this really intense institution where they teach like tons of languages for like 6 weeks, like a full-time job. Sort of like the
well,
FSI. You've heard of the FSI, right?
no.
The FSI is the Foreign Service Institute.
Oh
Basically,
yeah.
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 So they have like that where they teach you for 6 weeks intensively. So that'd be really cool to do, but it's expensive. It's a lot of money. But
6 weeks. How much
I think it's like
approximately?
$1,200.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's quite much.
But you can if you're a student or there's like other circumstances, you could get it like reduced by a lot.
Yeah,
But so really what I'd like to learn aside from a degree would be Czech. For some reason I like Czech a lot.
yeah,
Um and the Caucasian languages interest me a lot, so I would love to learn Georgian and Armenian.
yeah,
Um and some like African languages like maybe Zulu, Swahili, and then East Asian, of course. I like a lot of Asian languages too. Basically all of them. If I could learn all the languages, I could, but obviously it's never gonna happen.
yeah. I saw also some videos on your YouTube about, was it Erzya language, the
Yeah,
Uralic?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Uh,
was one of my favorite videos I made because it's
okay.
such a small language. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you get interested about those small languages like Erzya?
Um, basically people in my Discord just told me, how about you make a video on this language since you made a video on Finnish? Like,
Yeah.
how about you make a video on Urzian? So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And when I was researching it, it's honestly like a really interesting language. Honestly, now that I saw Urzian, a lot of the Russian Federation languages I actually really like Tatar, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, they are really interesting, and like the majority of the Uralic languages are in the Russian side. Did any Erza speaker comment on your video?
I think one person was studying Urzian, but
Yeah.
they weren't like a native speaker. No,
Mm,
actually, wait. That was such a long time ago. I think it was a couple months ago. I
yeah.
think maybe one Urzian native speaker might have commented.
Okay. Yeah.
I think one. I gotta go check back and let you know on that one.
Yeah, because I'm also looking for people who study those, who speak as a native language, those languages. I've already had a Komi and Mari speaker. The other one moved to Estonia, and the other one from the Mariel Republic. He's an astrophysicist living in Germany, actually.
Wow.
So yeah, and but I guess I've got one Russian episode that I did my with my wife, but I really need to improve my Russian because I think with the Uralic languages in Russia, uh, I would probably get more guests if I could make more in Russian because I could probably find much more people who who would be able to like speak about their native language in Russian and not English.
Yeah, that makes sense. They usually speak a lot of they usually only speak Russian in their native language.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be great if they could put more resources. Like I'd love to study those.
Actually, the Komi speaker who lives in Estonia now, he's part of a machine translating project in Estonia. I don't know if you have heard about Neurotõlge. It's like
No,
it's like Google Translate, but it's for almost all the Uralic languages plus the Baltic languages, Latvian and Lithuanian. So I actually used that as an aid when I studied Northern Sami, but of course now Google Translate has Sami as well. But they still have many that Google Translate doesn't have. I mean, Google Translate added Udmurt, I think, and maybe something else, Mari maybe. But Neurotolga has almost 30, and you can find, I think, all the Sami languages and the Komi, Mari, like the different varieties of Komi are there, and Mansi, Khanti, those. But yeah, the resources are quite scarce now, and I guess also for those languages, if you search something in Russian, maybe we would find something more. So maybe I'll try to find that with like with the help of my wife because there's not that many in English, or I haven't searched that much, just a bit, but yeah, I think there should be much more resources for those.
yeah, I might learn Russian just like to get those resources, you know? That'd
Yeah,
be
yeah,
funny.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, being able to speak Russian, you could you could learn so many other languages because I think in Russia there are more than 100 languages, the Uralic and also the ones in the Turkic and the Siberian and all other ones.
I know. There's also a lot of definitely like a lot of Russian immigrants here as well. So it could I have a chance to talk. I'm sure there's a few Russians in Finland, right?
Yeah, I think Russians are the biggest immigrant group in Finland.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think Russian and then Russian is the most common like native language after like for immigrants. I think then Arabic. Yeah. So we have a lot of Russians or Russian speakers because many of the Ukrainians speak Russian as their mother tongue, like my wife.
Have you learned Arabic or want to learn Arabic?
Yeah. I had here in Finland at the adult education center, uh, two or three, yeah, at least two Arabic classes courses, but and then I found one language exchange partner from tandem.com who's a Syrian living in Germany. But we practiced for a few months, but then he got too busy. So I would say my level is probably A2, not B1. I would say A2. So, but yeah, it's not easy because you don't know where to start, and the eternal question, should you start learning the Fusha, the or MSA Modern Standard Arabic, or like Egyptian Arabic? I've been thinking like Egyptian Arabic probably because
Have
there
you
are
been learning Fusha?
yeah, I have, but in the course, for example, it was a bit a mix of uh modern standard Arabic and the Syrian colloquial Arabic. So yeah, it's a mess, but yeah. But I definitely want to continue Arabic.
Yeah. If I were to learn, I'd probably for some reason I think even though it's like kind of hard understand other people, I think Moroccan Arabic kind of like calls me a little bit.
Oh, really?
Uh yeah, it was just
Yeah.
it's not really that practical, but Maybe I could learn Moroccan and Egyptian Arabic. You never know. That could be cool.
Yeah. So you have quite big language goals. What do you think in 10 years when you're 27 years old in 10 years, where do you want to be language wise and maybe professionally as
Maybe
well or
maybe 10 languages, not all fluently, but at least 10 languages decent level.
yeah.
That'd be really great goal, I think.
I'm sure you can do it in 10 years because
Maybe a little bit more, you never know. 12, 13.
yeah, yeah, definitely. If you have time and I mean you have the passion, that's doable. But it's good now when you're young, you have all the time. Like I had a lot of time when in my 20s, but now I'm almost 34, and uh, yeah, I'm really happy I put the time and effort studying all the languages in my teen years and 20s because I definitely wouldn't be able to learn that many new languages now with my own family and everything happening here. So yeah, and I think we have to make a video in 10 years at least. Of course, we can do like update videos before that, but at least in 10 years, we will make a new episode and we will see where you're at and what has happened. And
Yeah, that'd be great. Maybe in a year or two, maybe less. I think a year could be good. We could do a video where we talk in the languages we know. That could be good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
That'd be great. Yeah.
especially if some new things have happened and you have like made big progress, and we could like make it Spanish and then 1 year in Portuguese and maybe even Norwegian if you continue. I mean, if you continue, or I don't know, maybe some year even in Finnish if you find like passion or and motivation for it to continue like after this month, like a few more months, and they turn into years, and let's see.
I know a video in Finnish would actually be incredible if I could do it. I feel like at this point, I feel like I'm never gonna get there.
Well, yeah, I understand it would be incredible after because now I think it feels for you so distant, and it's such a challenging language. No, like, I mean, there are also easy parts, but mastering enough to be having a conversation, yeah. Because when I think about having like my plan is to make the podcast episodes in many other languages than what I'm using now. But for example, doing an episode in even Northern Sami, which is in the same language family, currently seems really distant. Even although I've studied it 2 years, or doing it in Arabic or Japanese, Korean that I want to also learn. Yeah, that's feels really distant, but I don't know. But I'm sure if you just find motivation, then it's definitely doable in 2, 3 years. Even
Yeah, I've seen your videos with Spanish, Portuguese, everything. Yeah, like I've seen like you're really motivated, and I've seen your like language journals. Like it looks like this is your passion, so I definitely think you could do it.
yeah, yeah. Well, now the challenging thing with the languages I'm not conversational in is that like the time. I have so much other things that I have to do that it has become much harder to reach higher level in the languages where my level is just A1 or A2, and even just maintaining my level in the languages I speak now, it's definitely not easy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
makes
think
sense.
I could have now two final questions for you. So, if you had the chance of picking from two alternatives, what would you pick? So the first one would be speaking like perfectly 10 most spoken languages. Let's say most spoken in the like amount of countries where they are spoken. So 10 most spoken countries in that definition, or
Yeah,
1,000 smallest languages of the world.
but like not as fluent or yes fluent.
Like perfectly. And there are different levels because some people have asked, okay, can I preserve the languages I speak now, or do I lose them? But let's say you would lose everything that you have now, and you would have to choose from the 10 biggest languages or 1,000 smallest ones. So you would be able to speak perfectly either the 10 biggest languages, or 1,000 smallest.
That's difficult because like when you say 1,000 smallest, like that could be a language that has like one speaker, right?
Yeah.
So that's difficult because I'd love to like speak at that like 1,000 different languages is crazy. Like I can't even imagine like all the things that be going in my head every day, right? That'd be insane.
Yeah, and I think the
Um,
biggest one from the 1,000 smallest one, so the rank like language number 6,000, I guess it would have uh maybe hundreds, maybe I'm not sure. It's at least tens of people, but I guess not more than 1,000. I think the maximum would be maybe hundreds of people. I guess the 1,000 smallest ones all have, I'm not sure about the numbers, but I would guess all of them have like between one and 100.
I would probably go for the thing is 10 biggest languages that would make it so easy to like travel around the world and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know, this is a really difficult question. I might have to go for the 10 biggest languages here.
Yeah, well, it would
Unfortunately,
be,
because the thousand one, I feel like it would be really hard to like even find people to talk to with. That's like the main drawback, I think.
yeah, you would probably need to find someone who would be like bilingual in that language and English. Then you should, but then you could just like carry them around with you and just put them translate everything for you.
Yeah, if you think about it, I like reading and writing a lot in my languages too. In the
Yeah.
thousand smallest languages, they probably don't have a lot of like they probably have some of them probably have zero books. Some of them might not even have writing systems. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess if I had to guess, I would guess from 1,000, maybe 950 don't have even a standardized orthography. I'm not sure, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah, so that's kind of like those are like the main drawbacks for me. So yeah, I'd go for the 10 biggest languages.
Yeah, all right. And what about if you had to choose between speaking all the languages of the world, or but you wouldn't be able to read and write, so you would be illiterate, or reading and writing all the current and extinct languages, but you would have listening, of course. You would understand, but you wouldn't be able to speak anything.
So I could understand and not speak or speak and not read like that.
So the first one, speaking and
But
understanding,
no
yeah,
reading and
but
writing, right?
no reading and writing. But the second one, no speaking, but yeah, listening, yes, and then reading and writing every single language, even
So,
the,
I feel like speaking gets you far, right? But I don't know, maybe maybe listening, reading and writing could get you it could get you just as far in my opinion. Like
yeah,
it would be like it would be more of a hassle, but you could write stuff down.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um
And
so I'd have to go
you would also understand all the like extinct languages, all the like text and the fragments of some clay pots or anything.
yeah, theoretically I could make a lot of money off of that.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yes.
no, I'm just kidding. But no, like I said, like I said, I like reading and writing a lot of my languages. And if I could understand as well, that's like three out of the four already. So
Mm.
Um, so I go for the reading, writing, and listening, but no speaking.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, one question more because we I started thinking about conlangs and I saw on your channel that you were maybe thinking of creating your own conlang. What do you think about conlangs and uh, are you going to develop your own like conlang and to like yeah.
So I think conlang is a great thing. Like it's like for somebody that creates like an actual like natural conlang or any conlang, it's like really inspirational because I started myself and it's already kind of difficult. Um so but the people on my server wanted me to create a conlang naturally like a natural one that's kind of like similar to real life, like how it would evolve in real life, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I definitely want to see it through. And it's been really fun because I think it also helps me kind of like learning languages as well. Because
Yeah.
I'm learning all these like obscure linguistic terms.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, the conlangs like Esperanto and Interlingua, Interslavic, all those ones that like try to replace languages, I'm not a fan of those because I like linguistic diversity in my
Mm.
opinion.
Yeah.
But aside from that, any most conlangs I think are great.
Uh, can you remember what was the place that tried to become independent and declare Esperanto as their official language? Do you know what I'm talking about? I
No, I
think
don't think
it
I've heard that.
I think it was like 100 years ago. Was it some area part of like Belgium or somewhere in the Benelux countries, some small part? They wanted to declare independence and declare Esperanto as their official language. Did you find something about
Yeah, I'm trying to
this?
find it now. I don't see anything.
Yeah, because I can re
Uh,
remember when it was years ago when I read something about this, so I've forgotten the details.
yeah, I can't find it.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
The only thing I see is the Soviet Union gave some support to Esperanto,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And have you watched any videos or instructions of um, people who have already created conlangs, how to like about the process?
Yeah, I definitely have because it's my first one, so I have to like kind of learn myself.
Yeah,
Even though I like reading linguistic articles, so a lot of the terms aren't that hard. But
yeah.
like trying to like starting from scratch, that's like kind of difficult.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, I didn't know anything about conlangs before interviewing David Peterson and Jesse Sams. I don't know. I guess you know the names.
Yeah, they created conlangs in what was it, Hollywood?
Yeah, yeah, for Hollywood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I didn't know anything about this conlang community, and I mean, I knew about conlangs, but I I had no idea how demanding the whole process is. That how they, I mean, they are all like they have PhDs in linguistics, all the people who
Yeah.
are in the conlang community, and I was just I didn't actually think that much. I was just thinking, okay, probably some people just randomly create the words and everything, but yeah, yeah, that's definitely not how it is.
I know it takes them years, and imagine how I'm struggling, and I'm still in high school.
Oh yeah,
The reason it's been not that bad is because I've been using the people in my Discord have been giving me tips on how to do it. The the
yeah,
the series is about using the people in my Discord, and we're all gonna come together and try to create like just a random language.
yeah.
Yeah,
Does it have a name yet?
not yet, no. I haven't made a video in a month because I've been focusing on some other things, but I'm gonna bring it back the series.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe if you in the future in the coming years are able to well I don't want to say complete the language because I think that's impossible. You would
Yeah, conlangs are never
I,
completed.
I mean, isn't that the case with almost any language? You always have something to add. But I think maybe in some point where I don't know it has when you
When
feel
it
like
has enough
it's
to
eh,
speak and write.
yeah, 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 or yeah, Maybe that would be interesting.
Yep. But
And one funny fact that I actually had one Finnish person who's a like linguistics has a master's in linguistics. He's a big languages nerd, and he he is probably the first Finn who has created a conlang that was used in a that was a Finnish movie, but I think his conlang was used in a short movie or something like that.
wow, it's actually really good. Imagine having your language used in something like that. It must be really cool.
Yeah, yeah. That reminded me that I should like be in contact with him because we talked on our podcast that we should make a follow up later about his project and talk more about the conlang and about the movie where it was used. Yeah. Anyways, do you have any final comments, or do you think there were some topics you would want to comment more in the end, or
No, I think I told you everything. This is really fun.
yeah,
I had a good time.
yeah. And thanks for having the time. It was really fun discussing about languages with you.
Yeah, of course, you too.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for listening for us for almost 2 hours, and we will be seeing us in the next episode again. So bye.